Gentlemen, welcome back to the Tiege Hanley Starting a Business Building a Brand vlog. This one, big number 361. So last vlog, I told you, this one is going to be part 2 of the amazing business Q&A. Last week, we got a ton of questions, and so I'm going to follow up with answering more of them because they were awesome, and that's what this vlog is all about. If you have a business question down below, start with business question and ask it, and hopefully each week, I'm going to get to a few of them. This week, a lot of yours. But before that, I thought I'd give you a house update because there's been some developments. And by developments, we've had some issues. Go figure. Apparently, I bought the worst lot in Marietta. But the good news is that we are figuring it out. And, you know, with enough money, you can fix any problem, most problems. Health and time, you can't get more of that. But, so here's the deal. The other thing I was struggling with, I really felt like we needed to do better with the color of the house. Last time I showed you kind of like a color rendering, we went really dark. Well, I kind of felt like the dark was a little bit too dark, and you lost some of the cool aspects of the brick detail, also like the big like iron and glass windows. And so kind of went back to the drawing board, and I am always on Instagram looking at different houses, and like that's like all I see in my feed. And so so I ended up seeing this like gray color. I knew I wanted to do gray. I didn't want to do white. And I saw this gray color. It was kind of like a medium, like taupey gray. And I was like, ooh, it's sexy. Well, it turns out that Linda, my architect, was the architect for this house. So she reached out to the builder to find out what the color of this house was. And so this is the new rendering of the color. What do you think? Do you like it? Do you dig it? It looks better, doesn't it? It looks a lot better. So as of right now, that's the color. But there's a long way before we actually paint the house because we ran into another damn issue with this lot. So last time I showed you we were digging the helical piers, doing helical piers for the first part of the walls of the house. Well, the house needs to be poured in different sections, and the reason is because they have to backfill from the back corner forward. And so in order for them to get all the dirt back there and for them to do all what they need to do in terms of backfilling and compacting and putting in drainage, they needed access points. And so the other thing that I found out is that with the shortage of concrete, you're only allowed like so many like gallons, I don't know what it's called, of concrete like per like pour. And so we also had to deal with that. The other cool thing in terms of dirt, we've brought in 300 loads of dirt so far, and we're about halfway to the amount that we're going to need. Now, the cool thing is that when I was kind of like ballparking in terms of like expenses for this project, the dirt has actually been one of the big surprises for me in terms of lower than I expected. Apparently, it's hard to get rid of dirt, and so our builder found this guy real close that is like excavating like an old like ball field or something, and so we took like a ton of dirt from him, and it's only like $40 a load. You split the cost of the driver and the truck with the guy that wants to get rid of it, and so it's been actually pretty cheap. So the one wall went in, we started to dig the second sort of section for the footers, and we got ready to do the helical piers, and the piers were stopping, and we're like, what is going on? And apparently underneath some of the area where the house is going to be, a long time ago, they actually just dug a big hole and dumped a bunch of old concrete and house debris down there. So guess what? We got to dig it out. So we dug it out, and so we're in the process of getting ready to fill a big hole with a lot of rock. And it's been it's been a little bit of a nightmare, but it's still fun, and I'm loving it. And I just love this process so much that it's cool. And this project, I'm learning a lot more than I have because a lot of the issues that we're dealing with are different than a lot of the other projects that I've done in terms of construction or renovations or remodels. So actually, we're there. It looks like my builder, Joel, is actually here. And let's talk to him, see if he'll talk to us. I don't even know if he'll talk to us. Joel, yeah, you can be famous. Come here. Come talk to them about what's going on. What's up, everybody? Joel, everybody?
Hey, everybody.
All right, so Joel works for Ladisic Fine Homes, and he has been incredible, helping me work through all the issues with this lot. How challenging has this lot been?
I'd say a 5 on a 10-point scale, maybe.
5?
Yeah, sure. Every lot is a challenge.
All right, well, this one seems like it is a bigger challenge. So let me show you what's going on. So right there, we got some of the walls up. That big backhoe is actually digging out. Let me show you. Actually, they're filling it up now. So this is the big hole that they had to dig down. What was it, like 10 feet?
Yeah, 10 feet. That right there is about maybe 100 tons of gravel, 100 tons of 57 stone.
How much is a ton of gravel?
About a cubic yard. So if you imagine...
No, price.
Oh, price around like 500 bucks.
How many? So
that's around 100 in there right now. Yeah, 110.
So 5,000?
Yeah.
Yeah?
And you're gonna have about 10,000 in there by the time it's done.
$10,000 worth of stone.
Yep, worth of little granite pebbles.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like helical piers would have been so much cheaper than that. So we're like, hey, the good news is you don't need to do helical piers in this section. The bad news is it's more expensive.
Right.
What did you think of the color of the house that we picked?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool.
Better?
Light gray?
Yeah,
a lot better.
A lot better.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, let me show you a few other things here before we get out of here. This is for my business vlog.
Your business vlog?
I do a business vlog, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So this isn't just to sell man products?
No, this isn't just to sell. So the big joke is that whenever there's a new expense, I'll always, what do I say to you?
You got to sell more ball powder.
I got to sell more ball powder. But yeah, so it's coming along. This is actually the area where the pool is going to be. This is what they've been doing in terms of compaction, right? So you see that's the level that it was, and now the grade is going up. And so, so as you can see, they're starting to lift the ground up, right, on the side, and it's cool. It's all gonna be like one level and street level, and then where I'm standing now is actually where the garage is going to be. The garage we're gonna have to go down and do probably like helical piers, but it's all coming together, and it's a lot of fun. A lot of challenges, but it's definitely something that hopefully I don't want to do again for a really, 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 really long time. Anyway, guys, let's go back to the office and answer some of your amazing business questions from last week. All right, so the first business question is from our friend, Sid Chawala. Sid, good to see you. I remember you from the Men Influential Conference. How are the boots doing? Anyway, hey Aaron, what strategies do you have for small influencers on how to monetize their audience and make money online without selling a course, LOL? I started posting on Talk 3 months ago and about to hit 50,000 followers. That's huge, congratulations. After a few of my videos went viral, I want to make the most out of my recent success. What should my first steps be if you were in my shoes? As always, thanks for all of your guidance over the years. So what I would do, honestly, what I would do is start a YouTube channel and take those TikTok videos that you created and upload them as shorts. The more I read, the more I learn, the more I understand kind of like the whole YouTube strategy with shorts, it's going to be really good for, I think, YouTube and content creators. And the thing that makes TikTok different than YouTube is that starting in January, YouTube is going to start paying you for TikToks and do like a rev split, which is huge. And so if you can kind of take the videos that kind of went viral or did well over there on TikTok, I would basically just start an account on YouTube, new account even, and just start uploading them. YouTube is going to filter them into the shorts feed and you'll start to grow. And so that would probably be my first step, because the other cool thing is that depending on how you're watching the YouTube short, you have the description that you can play with, that you can actually link to, you know, affiliate products or any type of business that you want to promote in the future. And so in terms of TikTok, how to monetize TikTok, I'm not really sure. You know, I've done some things, done some promotions with some guys for some of my products, and some of them have done like fairly well. And so possibly looking for like a brand deal, reaching out to some of these companies, seeing if they would advertise or allow you to, you know, advertise for them. And, you know, that's probably what I would do in this, you know, sort of state that you're currently in. You know, selling a course is one thing. You don't want to do that. But yeah, I would probably reach out to brands that you like, that you know, that you've met, and see if you could do or some little test even. Or, hey, will you have or give me an affiliate code or an affiliate link? Pete and Pedro has a great affiliate program where if you want to talk about something and, you know, make money off of a video or a TikTok that you possibly would post, you know, you could reach out to these companies and be like, hey, I want to, you know, I'm going to promote something for you. What would you do? And so that's a way to do it. Now, in terms of how to monetize, I don't know what the content you're doing is. And so I'm not sure if that wouldn't work for what you're doing, but it's something to think about. So your two strategies I would say for now are look for brands that you could work with in order to promote their products, whether or not it's Tiege Hanley, reach out to us. We'd be down to see if you might want to try it. And, and right now at first you might just be doing it for an affiliate code or an affiliate link. And then in the future, if it works, you could always reach out and try to make more money off of it that way. And like I said, the short strategy I think is definitely something that you should do. And you can just repurpose the videos and upload them to your YouTube channel and then, publish them as you see fit. But congratulations and good luck. Here we go. The next business question. Oh, let me think. Okay, King BRN says, please talk more in depth about your beard trimmer vacuum product that failed. The Stubble Buddy? Who said it failed? It failed. As in how you went about getting the product, branding, ordering, and how and why you think it failed. Okay, so why don't we do this? If you want me to talk about the Stubble Buddy, next week I'll go, because there's a lot of learnings in the Stubble Buddy experiment. Yeah, I'll talk about that next week. So why don't you, again, in this video, say, hey, talk about the Stubble Buddy. Next week, I'll tell you kind of what went down with the Stubble Buddy, but it wasn't, was it a failure? Meh. Am I going to order more? Meh, maybe. Anyway, I'll talk about that next week. But gentlemen, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Whoever said that, very, very smart. All right. The next question is from our friend, Eric Perez. He says, hey, Aaron, I'm working on building a mobile car detailing business. Are you in Marietta? Because I could use you. Come on. You got one client as we speak. Anyway, detailing business, and we're coming close to winter. Unless we're able to get busy enough to lease a garage for the winter, we will have to close down the business for the season. What would you recommend we can do to maintain brand awareness and be able to jump into spring at full swing? So great question. The car business, the car detailing business is kind of a tough thing, right? Mobile is great because you can do it and you go to the location. So I guess for this one, it really depends on where you're located, right? If you're in an area that gets like super cold, I don't know how it works in terms of detailing. Can you not detail in the cold? I don't know. Or is it just like harder? If you can, what I'd probably recommend is maybe looking into getting like one of those like pop-up tents that you can like kind of like drive into. I know you can, I don't even know if that would work, but they're portable. And so maybe you could do something like that and maybe get some type of heater to heat the inside if it was kind of like a capsule. I've seen them. I've seen something like that I think would possibly work. And if you could do that, here's an idea. What if the mobile, so you're going to people's houses, so that would work. I was thinking, okay, well, maybe you could get a location, like go to a parking lot of some building or strip center and ask the landlord, hey, could I lease a section of your spot? Or maybe here's another idea. I'm tossing it at you. So the entrepreneur in me is thinking about problem-solving situations. So if you can do it, if you could set up like a little tent or something and get maybe like a heater that would keep you from freezing your nuts off, maybe go to like a coffee shop or some area that has like a parking lot that people could go in and wait or sit, or that people are going to be, and ask if you can set up your shop there. I'm trying to think how you can do it. It really depends on, I guess, your ability to get some type of like station or tent thing that you could drop the sides and do your work inside. I'm sure you could, I'm sure you could do it. I'm sure you could do something like that. Down below, let me know if that's an option or if you've explored it. In terms of how to ramp it up, I really think for you, it's about trying to maintain or build your business during the colder months. And how do you do it? Could you go into a garage or somebody that has a space, or a garage that has a roll-up door? Is there somewhere in your area that you could lease it for a week, a month, or whatever in order to kind of help, generate yourself some income and lease the space? I think mobile detailing is great, but there's got to be another piece possibly to that component. And so you just haven't figured it out yet. But let me know if you need more details or more insights. I don't know, details, I'm not going to be that much help, but down below, let me know. But this is a very, very interesting question to me, because car washes and car detailing is a business that I think is a viable business for a lot of people, and it doesn't take a huge amount of startup to actually start. The next business question comes from our friend Eric L78. He says, I am contemplating starting a YouTube channel for music reviews of records and what they mean to me. One problem I have is I need to learn how to have thick skin of people's comments and criticisms. How have you dealt with that, and what has helped you over the years? Thank you. You know, it never gets easy. It never goes away. Over the years I've been doing this so long, you know, it's kind of just been like, whatever. You know, if something bothers you, for me, either it's completely wrong and false, and it's like, how could you think that? And you want to defend yourself, and you shouldn't, just to let you know, you shouldn't do that. The other portion or part of that is that there's a little degree of truth in terms of their criticism, and that typically is the stuff that stings the most. And if it's completely just stupid, like you're an asshole, right? Like that's open to interpretation. It never goes away. It does get a little bit easier, but you know, I have insecurities now that I never did before once I started posting YouTube videos, because people will find a way to pick you apart in weird ways that you didn't even realize was something that, like, I didn't know that I should be worried about my nose, my ears, I did, but that birthmark in my eye, I never, you know. And so, you know, thick skin, it does take, you know, having thick skin, but the benefit will definitely outweigh the negative, as long as you kind of stay focused and do what you love, and just realize that, you know, everybody's entitled to their opinion, and nobody would ever have the balls to say the stuff that they say to your face, but they're keyboard warriors, and, you know, that's not going away. And so I would just do it, and don't let the negativity or the thick skin necessity prevent you from trying something, because you never know where it will lead. And for me, it led to something amazing. Next business question is from our friend Raymond Stoltz. He says, I'd love to hear about influencer selection. What is a good example of a campaign brief? What are your thoughts on influencer size to target as new businesses and limited resource are paying posts? This is a big question, not like a little one that takes a lot of kind of like in-depth like explaining. And so I'm not going to tackle it here because this is already probably going to run long and there are a lot of business questions. So ask again next week if you don't mind. This is a great question, and I think for business it's critical to kind of figure that out. And maybe it's something where our Josh, our guy at Tiege, because he's the one that kind of negotiates a lot of terms and how he analyzes, maybe it'll be a good question and section for him. And maybe I'll punt this question to him to answer for next week. And maybe he'll just be able to send me the clip of him answering the question. So check back next week. I'm so loving it. There's so many business questions. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to get to all of them. All right. So the next business question comes from our friend. This one's quick. Arturo Olivo, sorry. Anyway, he says, when shutting down a business, how does that affect your credit? It really depends on how you're shutting down that business. So for me, shutting down Enemy, just stopping everything, it doesn't affect it at all because I never took out a business loan. I didn't default on any of my leases or anything like that. And I think that's really what you really need to figure out. Like if you are shutting down a business and you've got a bunch of financial obligations, and the truth is that a lot of times when you do have to shut down a business, you do have expenses that you need to wrap up, or you might not be able to potentially pay, whether or not that's a lease for a space that you can't afford to lease anymore, or you've got purchase orders maybe that are outstanding, or, you know, employees that you need to pay. It really depends on that, right? And so it's going to depend on your obligations and if you default on them, and if you're having to file bankruptcy personally, right? Because that's one of the things. Like if most of the time in a small business, you're not going to get a bunch of business credit without being established for a while. So most of the time, everything that you're putting into the business is coming out of your pocket. And as a sole member LLC, everything is tied to your personal income tax. And so if you're shutting down a business and you are like going completely broke, you know, it may be a thing where you are filing bankruptcy. And so at that point, it does definitely affect your credit. And it depends on, like I said, who you owe money to. And so there's a lot, it's not like a simple answer. But for me with Enemy, it doesn't affect my credit at all because I have no debt or I don't owe anybody. And so when I shut it down, and that's kind of that. The next business question is from our friend, Mr. Kevin. I think I might need a little more information for next week. So you might need to include that on this vlog. Hey, Aaron. First of all, I'd like to thank you for your videos, great content, making for all of us. You're welcome, brother. Thank you for watching and being a part of this. I need some advice. How do you think about starting a business, but from that specific niche of business type is already a lot of similar types of business? What is your opinion about? Okay, so essentially, what Kevin is asking, Mr. Kevin is asking, is what is my opinion on starting a business that has a lot of other competition in it? You know, it's one of those things where, I don't know, is it good to have a little bit of competition? Possibly. Typically, if there's a lot of competition, that means that it's a very viable marketplace, right? And a lot of people are seeing an opportunity, and so a lot of people are doing it. But sometimes having a ton of competition is bad because then you've got to compete for the awareness. You've got to compete for the dollar. And there's a book, what is it? Peter Thiel, I believe, wrote, or I heard a quote, something like competitions for losers or the race to zero or something. I'm getting my inspirational business quotes mixed up. Anyway, essentially what it was saying is when people are trying to compete based on price alone, it's a race to the bottom, right? You've got to have something that differentiates yourself from your competition. And if you do, if you set yourself apart and develop and find that marketing component, you can win. And whenever you watch Shark Tank, people are always talking about it's a $20 billion industry. And that's one of the worst things the sharks, like, they hate hearing that. And if I can just get a 1%, I'm going to be right? Well, of course. But there is some truth in that. And the reason why people say that is if it's a huge market and there's a huge opportunity, if you can get a small piece of that huge opportunity, it's still a big opportunity. Matt Miller, funny enough, I answered this question on last vlog, but I think I missed the clip when I was editing, so I didn't actually include your answer. So I'm going to answer it again. Hey, Aaron, I'm currently starting a prototype phase for my veteran-owned watch company. Thank you for your service. Brother, my question is, when is the best time to start marketing the product? Should I wait to get the product, or should I start marketing prior to hopefully building buzz around the product? So now is the time. Depending on, I don't know. Now is the time, I would say. Because if you are building a watch company and you're prototyping, now would be the ideal time to start engaging your customers, potential customers, asking for feedback, start posting, right? Things and questions. And that's what happened with Tiege. We weren't a product yet, but when we started talking to people and talking about them or talking about Tiege on this vlog, it was basically inviting people in to be a part of our journey and our story. And so for you, the fact that you're a veteran, the fact that you are, doing something cool, you've already got kind of an interesting story, and people are going to buy into that. And they're going to basically want to be a part of what you're doing and what you're building. And so having the prototype sort of allow for some type of feedback, and that's what we did with Tiege Hanley. Do you want white packaging or black packaging? We asked questions. We had a website. So what I would do is I would have a website, build a website, and basically get people to start engaging and signing up. Hey, do you want to be a part of this? Do you want to, be a insider and get feedback or give us feedback? And you need to start driving them to a website, having maybe some renderings of your prototypes, and just get that conversation started so that when you launch, you have a built-in customer base that is ready to buy. Starting when you're ready is a tough slog, right? I would start now, and you're probably going to find out some things that you thought were right that are probably wrong, or vice versa. And now is the time to kind of figure that out and uncover them so that when you go down the road and build your product or build your website or do whatever, you're going to have a better idea of what to do, what not to do, and what your customer actually wants. So now is the time. The next business question comes from our friend Blake Dillard. He says, what is a rule of thumb for target margin? How does it differ for a bigger ticket, lower volume product versus a high volume product? Also, how do you build in cushion for third-party distribution and or sales and discounts? Blake, this is the million-dollar question. Congratulations. This is one of the biggest questions that every entrepreneur has to face, and that is, what do you charge? I wish there was a simple answer and a simple formula. Unfortunately, there's not. You're absolutely correct. The bigger ticket items might have there's so much that goes into pricing. In terms of target, I don't know the answer to that. It's literally an impossible question for me to answer. One of the things that you consider, or we consider, is there has to be a sweet spot, right? I would rather, and what do you do, right? How do you, This question, like I said, it's such a complex question with so many moving parts. I'm definitely not going to do it justice. But you just have to do the math, right? You have to figure out what your business strategy is. You know, you have the product, you know what your cost is. Now, at some point, there's going to be a variable, like if you grow at the scale, your cost on building is going to be, is going to come down hopefully. But in the beginning, it's not. And you cannot price it, or you shouldn't price it with the idea that in the future, I'm going to be able to get it for this. You got to deal with your reality right now so that you have the margin in order to market, in order to grow, in order to scale, in order to reallocate funds and buy more products so you can grow it, right? And pay yourself if that's in the cards and possible right now. And when they talk about, it's a numbers game. If you're making a little bit of money on a lot of volume, is that better than selling a little bit of product and making a lot more money? I don't know. Only you can answer that. And there does have to be some type of way that you can figure that out. And I'm not sure what that is. It's dependent upon the market. It's dependent upon how you're scaling it. But one of the big mistakes that a lot of people make is they charge too little too soon. You can always come down on your price, but it's very difficult to go up. And so what I would recommend when trying to figure it out, if you are trying to go with a distribution model where you're selling it as a wholesaler to somebody and they're going to resell it, that's a different strategy and a different model than you going direct to consumer. Direct to consumer, you can bring the price down a little bit. You can also offer a super high quality product for a little bit lower money. But when you start to get into that distribution model and having somebody else selling your product, then it's all about, the markups. How many times you're marking it up? Every time it changes to somebody else, it's getting marked up 100%. So if $100 it costs you to make, you're charging $200, you made your margin. But then they are going to mark it up another 100%, so they're charging $400. So if the end price is $400, chances are you're going to have the margin, or the marketing, is the margin is right if you are buying it for $100. So basically 4 times the original cost. See, this is complex. You got to figure out what works for you. And if you're selling direct to the consumer, understand that you can, like I said, you can always come down on your price, but it's very, very difficult to go up. All right. But sometimes you got to go up. Tiege, Hanley, we've had to go up. Pete and Paige, we've had to go up because some of the things that we thought or we knew in the beginning of the business have changed. Supply chain has changed. Packaging has changed. Raw materials and ingredients have changed. And so you're just going to, what are you going to do? You're going to eat the cost and just keep your margin shrinking? Well, if you do that, then you're not going to have any margin left to grow your business or spend on other things that are going to help your business. And so that's the other kind of takeaway to this is, even though it's easier to come down on your price, sometimes you need to go up. And when you need to go up, it may mean the difference between staying in business and not. So if that's a question, I would always choose to go up and piss off a few people, and understand that if you're providing an incredible product and you're not gouging people and you're honest and talking to them, they'll understand and continue to roll with you. But incredible $1 million question. And the last business question I'm going to get to today is from our friend Steven Yans. And if you have a business question, or I didn't get to yours, down below, start it with business question and ask it. Next week, I'm going to tell you about the Stubble Buddy. I'm also going to answer more of your questions. This last question says, hey, Aaron, as you might know, entrepreneurship is not for everybody, and that is my case. However, it's not for everybody, and this is my case. Okay, so you, Steven, don't want to be an entrepreneur. Cool. Most people should not be an entrepreneur. I'm just saying that. Even though entrepreneurship is the craze and everybody thinks they should be, it is definitely not for everybody. A lot of people, the majority of people, should get a job, find a career, and do something they're passionate about and love, which is the question. However, I'm having trouble finding my passion for a career. I'm currently in college, but not sure what I am studying for. Any advice? So yeah, my advice is, it's okay not to know. Now, the deeper you go into college, the more you should try to figure out exactly what you want. I went and got a business degree with a minor in marketing, another minor in community health promotion, because I knew I wanted to own a business, right? But a business degree is a good overall degree if you think you want to do something in business. They're going to teach you the basics, right? Accounting, marketing, management, things that you're going to need to know. Now, the good news is that there are prerequisites that you're probably taking right now that are going to apply to pretty much any career that you're going to go into. And so for me, what I would probably do is, try and explore different careers. Like there's got to be something that you're interested in. What do you love to do, right? Maybe if we can figure out that might help direct us. So Steven, down below, why don't you tell us a little bit more about you so that maybe myself or the audience can kind of chime in and help, maybe give you some things to possibly look at or some career paths or choices that you may not have considered. So Steven, down below, tell us about you. What are you good at? What do you like doing? What would you do if you didn't have to work? Now, the truth is that everything takes work, and whoever said if you find what you love doing, you'll never work a day in your life is lying, but it'll help give us a little bit more information and direction. Gentlemen, you are amazing. Thank you for rolling with us. Thank you for everything that you've given us, and hopefully you dig this vlog. And if you did, drop us one of these. Next week, more of your business questions, and we'll talk a little bit about the stubble buddy. Just a little, though, because there's not that much to tell. Gentlemen, we love you more than our what? You know, double monk strap shoes. You're awesome.